Congratulations, Research America, on your 25th anniversary. Thank you for passionately advocating, Mary, you've got passion, for funding scientific research and for advocating, making it a national priority to improve the quality of all our lives. Thank you. So, what's in style this season? What is fashion dictating? At Geoffrey Beene, new ideas. It's all about innovation, which makes you, Dr. Hood, in style. Dr. Hood, where are you? Here he is. In style. We call him a trendsetter. Our product, clothes that care. Our investment, research. That is why 100% of our net profits fund research at the Geoffrey Beene Cancer Research Center at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Alzheimer's, heart disease, veterans' causes, scholarships, and many more critical causes. Plus, encouraging young people to go in science through our Rock Stars of Science campaign, because it is just simply cool. Tonight, we have the honor to present the Geoffrey Beene Builders of Science Award to the father of invention, a man who trusts his instincts, a trailblazer, a visionary and advocate, whom, as described by one of his colleagues, said this about you. Dr. Hood, he's still not here, okay? Sorry, you're missing all this. Anyway, described you this way. When he was advocating for the Human Genome Project in 1985, and I quote, "Working in the face of deep skepticism from many, he spoke out at the NIH, DOE, and wherever people would listen, including testimony in Congress, delivering a compelling vision for the future of biomedical research with the genome in hand." Well, Dr. Leroy Hood, I say you are a stunning, inspirational rock star of science. Your voice is improving the quality of life. Dr. Hood is a pioneer in the systems approach to biology and medicine, created the Institute for Systems Biology. His research has focused on the study of molecular immunology, biotechnology, and genomics. Dr. Hood's professional career began at Caltech, but just a moment, he was also a quarterback there, so this man knows how to make touchdowns. Bravo. So we're not surprised when you hear all the things he's done. The guy knows how to get past the finish line, I'll tell you that. Well, at Caltech, where he and his colleagues developed the DNA gene sequencer and synthesizer and the protein synthesizer and sequencer, yes, a lot of S's, for instruments that paved the way for a successful mapping of the human genome. Before Dr. Hood invented the automated DNA sequencer, it took 30 years to sequence the genome of the cold virus. Well, recently, it took less than a day to sequence the genome of the SARS virus. So consider this. Before Dr. Hood invented the automated DNA sequencer, it cost, by one authoritative figure, $180 million to sequence the first gene. Today, I have been told, it costs $6 to sequence a gene. Have I got your attention now? Dr. Hood is bringing down the cost of healthcare. Capitol Hill, can you hear me? This man is rocking. Technologies originated in his lab have transformed biological research, enabled the Human Genome Project, and allowed him to contribute important insights in immunology, cancer, neurobiology, and inherited diseases. Get ready for this now. Dr. Hood has been instrumental in founding 15 biotechnology companies, has been an advisor to many more. He currently holds 36 patents, has published more than 700 peer-reviewed articles, and he is one of the very few scientists worldwide to have been elected to membership to all 3 of the U.S. National Academies. Now, this is a builder of science. Throughout his eminent career, Dr. Hood received numerous awards and recognition. Well, of course. I actually counted them. I saw pages and pages. I go, what the hell? I'm going to take a count. I got up to 100. I said, that's it. I can't list them all here under time constraint. So I will only tell you just a couple of them that are pretty rather pretty rather significant. Listen to this. Here they go. Lasker Award for Studies of Immune Diversity, the Kyoto Prize in Advanced Technology, the Heinz Award for pioneering work in systems biology, and most recently, the coveted NAE 2011 Fritz J. and Dolores H. Russ Prize for automating DNA sequencing and that revolutionized biomedicine and forensic science. And the crowning touch, Dr. Hood received the 2011 National Medal of Science, which he received in 2013. Wow. Like I said, he's a rock star. In short, your colleagues have eloquently described you over and over as a visionary, a tiresome advocate, persistent, optimistic, inspirational, who embodies the spirit and sets the example of a builder of science. And one colleague said this in particular, and I quote, "Leroy Hood has not only done great science, but he has created new science through which many will create new knowledge to the benefit of all of mankind that will last forever." So it is our honor to be included amongst all of Dr. Hood's awards. And my husband Tom and I want to thank you for all you have done to help save and improve lives. Your contributions to humankind are incalculable. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Leroy E. Hood for receiving the 2014 Geoffrey Beene Builders of Science Award.
That's a pretty hard act to follow, I would say. In fact, I think I should have her give the rest of... I'd like to thank Mary Woolley for a magnificent job in Science Advocacy, Research America. And I'd like to thank the Geoffrey Beene Foundation for this wonderful award, Builder of Science. And let me tell you about the next edifice I'm trying to build. In taking a systems approach to medicine, it's obvious to me that healthcare is really about two things. One is wellness, and the second is demystifying disease. With regard to wellness, what we really need are metrics for being able to assess how well we are. Now the definitions are vague and psychological. For disease, I think there are two really important things that we don't get to do in contemporary healthcare these days. One is to look at the dynamics of disease, to see how it changes. Rather, we tend to study it more toward the end stages. And of course, the second thing that's really important for disease is to study it in that earliest point of transition from wellness to disease, to understand what's going on so it can be thwarted there rather than letting it move down the way. So what I'm proposing, what we're proposing at the Institute of Systems Biology, is a study, longitudinal in nature, Framingham-like, of 100,000 well individuals that we'll study over the next 20 years or so, where we'll look at 6 different types of data, many of them gathered sequentially all the way down that time period. So what will this do? This will take the 100,000 individuals and divide them into 2 categories: those that maintain wellness or increase their health, those that transition into disease. And of course, the real hope is that we can study those earliest events of disease transition, get diagnostics and the therapeutics that move people immediately back into the wellness trajectory, thus saving the healthcare system an enormous amount of money. What this will do is create a virtual cloud of billions of data points around each individual that we can integrate and model and ultimately come up with actionable possibilities for each individual uniquely to improve their health. And I'll give you an example of a friend of mine at Microsoft who, at 35, started to acquire severe osteoporosis. Had a genetic analysis done, discovered defective calcium transporter, started taking 20 times the normal amount of calcium, and in a year and a half his bone structure was normal, and now 12 years later is an absolutely normal individual. A genetic deficiency that was managed by a vitamin. So the real question that we can ask then is, what is this longitudinal study going to do? I would say three things. Number one, we'll have the data cloud that will let us examine each of you as an individual to optimize your wellness and to minimize your disease. Number two, we can over time assess the data that comes from those people that remain well or increase in health and look for metrics of wellness. One metric we're really looking for is a metric that will allow us to identify your physiologic as opposed to your chronologic age. So if your physiologic age is 50 and your chronologic age is 70, you're in great shape. If the inverse, you're not in very good shape. And of course, the third transformation is going to be that we'll have an enormous amount of data on the transitions from wellness to disease so that we can begin to assess how to transform people back into that earlier stage much sooner. How are we going to proceed with this? We're going to start in decades of 10. This month, we're starting with our first 100 patients on this study. Then we'll move in a year after we've learned the lessons to 1,000, and then to 10,000, and finally to 100,000. We're in a unique opportunity with this type of study, I think, to really transform healthcare and to bring to it the fundamental trio or mantra of how we want to change it. I really believe this is going to improve the quality of healthcare. I think it's going to decrease costs in healthcare. And I think it's going to promote an innovation which will create an entirely new industry, one of wellness, which I predict in a 10 to 15 year time period will have a market cap exceeding that of the classic healthcare business. So how do we move forward with this challenging initiative? Again, we'd like to reach out to all of you that have ideas and suggestions about how to move forward. But it is an idea whose time has come, and it is the wedge that will transform our healthcare system today. Thank you.